everybody. I'm super excited. Today is our first book club discussion. Hi, Sue. Now, okay, so the question remains, how many of you actually read the first book of our book club? The first book was Spilled Milk by K.L. Randis. And I need to know, how many of you actually read the book? When Kelly Schweinhagen suggested a book club, I'm like, you know what? I love that idea because it gives me a chance to have to read at least one book a month. At least I have to sit and make time to read. I chose this book, one, because I love books based on true stories. I really do. It had really good reviews. And so I chose it. Now, I want you to know I chose it not really knowing completely what it was about. So if you've not read the book, spoiler alert, you might not want to listen to the discussion if you want to read it yourself. Or you might want to, and maybe it'll make you more interested in reading this book. So, yeah, so I'm super excited that we get to come together and talk about books. So I've never done a book club, so I'm super excited and psyched about it. And if you all noticed, one of the things, at least in my copy of the book, there's actually discussion guide questions in the back. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Oh my goodness. I don't know. The name of what, Brandy? The name of what? Gloria, I did not know that. That is the real author on the cover. She's a very pretty little girl. My goodness. So I'm going to start out by telling you my reaction to this book. And so here you might get some insight as to my life. But what I found, I had a really hard time with this book. I had a really hard time with this book because it hit a little too close to home for me. And I actually got to one part of this book where I had to stop reading for a little while. And then I realized that for like 2 days, my anxiety was through the roof. And something kind of shook me that was in this book because of a way she handled what was happening to her. I had never heard of anyone else handling it that way. And yet I, as a child, when I went through something very similar, handled it exactly the same way. So it was very interesting, and I kind of was like, oh, I wasn't prepared for this emotional journey. But then I was able to come back to the book later, and I was able to continue reading it, and I was okay. But the biggest takeaway that I found from this book was the fact that something so horrific could be happening for so long and nobody really know. That's amazing to me. So to start the discussion, my first question is going to be, do you think that that she had other options in how to handle what was happening with her father? Do you think there were other options that she had? And if anyone is interested in coming on live, during book discussion, I am happy to bring you on live during book discussion. So if you have a camera on your phone, your laptop, your iPad, whatever you're using, and you would like to speak live, I am happy to bring you on, each person for a short time to get your insight. That's true, Melva. There were no other options to get out. You have to tell. I agree. I definitely agree. Like, were there other options? I think were there other options in general? Yes. Could that happened until she was ready to tell? Not really. I mean, I agree with you. She did, but in her position, she felt that she didn't, and if she exercised those other options, they may not have had a positive result. And she understood that. That's true. That's true. She did the only option she felt she could. She did out of love. That is so true, and that is very true, Gloria. I don't think you can understand unless you've been through that. I can speak from personal experience with this, that when I was in a similar situation as a child, not exact, but similar, I didn't tell for a very long time. And in the beginning, one of the reasons I didn't tell was because this was my first stepfather, and he was very, very abusive to my mother as well. And I felt like if I told, my mother would suffer the consequences, and that he would hurt her. And so I stayed silent to actually protect my mother. Yes. Do you think that despite only being a teenager, that Brooke seemed mature beyond her years? Absolutely. She had to pick up her mom's slack with responsibilities. That's true. That's true. So really, she really was in an adult role from a very early age. That's right. It'll grow you up real quick. I agree. When you have to play mom and, in a way, housewife, unfortunately, and you have to be the protector of your siblings, that's huge. I agree. When I was reading it, there were times where she was so childlike. Yes, so childlike, and yet other moments so mature. That's right. She really didn't have a chance to be a child. She really didn't. Really didn't. Her childhood was really a battle of survival in her own way. And yes, and you see moments where she really was, like, she's in this role and she's, protector and housewife and mother and all these things, and yet you see these insights where she is just like this little girl cringing inside and afraid. And as far as her character changing throughout the story, I feel like it did change, and I feel like she got stronger as an individual and really learned who she was and what she was capable of, what love really was, acceptance. I think she really learned those things as she told her story more and more. I don't know. There was only one part of the book that I cried. I think I was more kind of pushing through this book because it hit home. This book is called Spilled Milk by K.L. Randis. Spilled Milk. What do you think was the single most difficult challenge that Brooke faced? No, not a mother at all, Gloria. Not a mother at all. You wonder, like, what? Here's where I wonder, that where did the disconnect happen? Because clearly her grandparents that raised her mother seemed to be quite, for better lack of a better word, very normal and very well adjusted and good people. So where did the disconnect happen that they had a daughter? Like, I'm thinking, was she addicted to medication, which changed her personality? Like, how do we go from A to Z with them? I wondered that as I was reading. Yeah, that's the thing for me too. Like, did she really not know, or did she suspect, or think it wasn't that serious? But how do you think it's not that serious, which is so crazy. So crazy. I don't understand. But I really think everyone around them, like all the family, I think they really were clueless. I think they did not know. I feel like when she first was with Paul, she kind of latched on, and I think they were too young for her to be needing him. And I think emotionally she needed him. And I think too young for that. And I think kind of that came from what she'd been through. There's no way that you can go through this and it not affect your relationships. Can you have happy relationships? Of course you can. I have a wonderful marriage. But has what happened affect you throughout your life? Absolutely, and definitely your relationships. Do you agree with Brooke's decision about Paul that love is not enough? Why or why not? Do you believe or do you agree with Brooke's decision about Paul and that love is not enough? Why or why not? And I'm not going to say what I think until I see what you think. I agree with that, Sue. She needed the stability of someone, no matter who it was. I think so. I think anyone who gave her some stability, some love, some understanding, I think she latched right to them. So I will tell you what I think about this. You know, is it true that love is not enough? That's true. I think sometimes it was that, Gloria. It was more about the family and a lot less about him than maybe she even admitted to herself. Maybe she didn't even quite admit that to herself, that it was the family dynamic she really wanted and not necessarily him. I think that there has to be more than love. There has to be commitment. There has to be respect. There has to be, give me some other words, loyalty, trust. You have to both be willing to work on it. Absolutely, Melva. So it has to be important. The author Kale Randis that wrote this book about her life, she's a graduate of Pennsylvania State University and a certified expert in the field of domestic violence. She has since written numerous local publications that brought awareness to domestic violence and child abuse. She engages audiences on a local and national level to raise awareness about child abuse, serving as a frequent commentator to media outlets. She has developed local high school presentations on teen dating violence. She was named Community Woman of Distinction by East Stroudsburg University and was invited to the Pentagon several times to speak to the Department of Defense about child abuse. But I think her story, the most important thing to come out of her story is that we carry on, we move forward, and we become stronger than we were before. And we take the positive from a bad situation and we go forward and make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. And I think that's what she has done with her life. You know of it. Well, it's a very good book, Deidre. It's a very good book, and it might help you do a little healing, hon. It did for me. It did for me. April's book is is Sanctuary, and it is not a nonfiction. It is fiction. I figure we would do something a little less emotional this next time around, but I can't promise that for the one after that. But I am so excited to be able to share my love of reading and books with all of you who also love reading and books. And I'm super, super excited to do the book discussions every month. So you have, what are we doing, April? You have a few weeks to read the new book. And I look forward to being able to discuss the books with you. Please, next time we are on, please, I appreciate you wanting to spend time with me, and I appreciate you letting me do a book club where we can all enjoy some books together. and pushed me to read again. I appreciate it so much. Reading is such a gift, and I love it, and I was very happy to get to read. I hadn't read in a while, so I look forward to it. I love you all. I'm gonna go eat some chili and some Caesar salad that I made for dinner. That's right, spilled milk. It was important. So don't cry over spilled milk. Learn from it. All right? And I will see you all tomorrow. Love you all. Have a great Friday night. See you soon.